Boys, we're back. What's going on? Week 1 breakdown coming at you. Yeah, thanks for everybody for getting their games in early. That way I can record this on the weekend and get this uploaded nice and quick. Don't have to wait around on me at all. I know you guys appreciate that. So, yeah, we're just going to dive right on into this. So week 1, we got Ty versus Joe here. I'm just going to kind of break it down. You know what I do. Normal stuff. Got a new format here. Got a little face cam goofing. So after a couple turns here, I'm going to pause and kind of break this down. Yeah, so I'll let this Blastoise do its move. Okay. So this was a max HP, max special attack Blastoise. Yeah, so the main thing we see on turn 1, he doesn't Mega Evolve. Now, we do not ban, or like, it's not against the rules to not Mega Evolve, but Mega Blastoise has a lot more bulk than regular Blastoise. I don't think there's anything that base Blastoise with Torrent or Rain Dish could have really taken advantage of in this situation. So obviously remember to Mega if you have no reason not to. It's just generally better, especially in Blastoise's case, because it just gets fatter. It's able to eat those Thunderbolts a little bit easier. Okay, so we see Rapid Spin come out. Joe said this is probably because he was expecting some sort of like hazard lead Mew when he leads Mew here, which is totally reasonable. It makes sense. Go for the Rapid Spin, and then, you know, even if hazards go up, you remove them, and then possibly you're faster on the next turn. Well, you know, as you can see, hazards didn't go up. Blastoise took a Thunderbolt. If I'm Joe at this time, I am either going straight into Guzzlord or I'm going straight into Tapu Koko. There's no reason for Blastoise to eat another Thunderbolt here. If you look at Tyler's team, we have basically 0 Dark Resists, right? You got a Mega Launcher, Dark Pulse coming off of Blastoise here. Basically, anytime this thing comes in, it should be clicking Dark Pulse, and there should be absolutely no drawbacks to that. Greninja, it might be able to eat 2 of them, but you know, you're just going to wear that thing down. It's probably not wearing boots. It's probably going to be some sort of Choice Locker, a Life Orb attacker. You know, it's not going to have longevity. So once you see the Thunderbolt out of Mew, there's no reason to take any more hits out of this, and if you are staying in, you need to fire back with a Dark Pulse on the next turn. So he Mega Evolves and goes for the Rapid Spin. Basically, I mean, I will break down the rest of the game, but from this point on, getting rid of Blastoise just opened up Scissor for the rest of the team. It opened up Garchomp for the rest of the team, opened up Glowking. Blastoise was a really, really good answer to what Tyler has. And yeah, basically like Greninja, Scissor, and Garchomp are able to just cook for the rest of the game. So yeah, this was pretty much it. It was kind of lost on turn 3 because he didn't get the kill with Dark Pulse. Now, even though the Mew was Assault Vest, Dark Pulse did 50%, so even without an Assault Vest, it would only do 75%. So Mew would still live, right? It would be at, what, 9% health, given its EV spread. So even going for the Dark Pulse here and it living, like even with it being Assault Vest, it was going to live regardless, which is unfortunate for Joe because now he doesn't have his Blastoise anymore, and I'm just going to kind of go through this pretty quickly, put it on fast here. Really cool physical Koko, makes a lot of sense against Ty's team. You know, he's probably not switching Garchomp in initially. He has a really good special wall. I think on like the Smogon for Galarian Slowking, it says it's a pretty good Koko answer. So Joe makes a really good double there, getting out, going into Celesteela, getting up a Leech Seed. I didn't really understand the switch out of Celesteela. Even if you were worried about like a Fire Blast or something, you have Leech Seed up. You're going to be able to live 2 of those, and you should be able to fire back here. I'm going to pull up Joe's team here. Yeah, it was leftovers. I mean, you just go for the Air Slash. Really no drawback to doing that. Now this double just ends up forcing your Ditto to take Chip. Rotom Fan isn't scared of Rotom Fan, so there's no reason for him to switch out. And then you went into Celesteela, which is weak to an electric move. You saw all of his moves with your Ditto there, right? You were able to see everything that he had on Rotom Fan, which was Discharge, Volt Switch, Air Slash, and Defog. I mean, Coco just resists every single one of those moves. So yeah, there was no reason to go into Celesteela there. If you have a resist, just go into it. You know, you don't have to make that over crazy prediction, because if you're a Rotom fan versus a Rotom fan, right? He's never clicking Air Slash into you. That resists it. He has Discharge and Volt Switch that he can click that is neutral with you. Plus you're Choice Scarfed. Now maybe you were making a call that Garchomp was coming in, but if you were making that call, why not go into Buzzwole? Because you were already scared out from your Celesteela being in front of the Garchomp, so if that was your concern that he would go into his ground type, then why go into the thing that you didn't want in front of his ground type anyway? Yeah, so that's pretty much my thought on that. At this point, Celesteela is too chipped. Volt Switch Mew, he's just in the blender right now. There's no Protect on Celesteela either, so 27% is enough to die to this Fire Fang, which wouldn't have 3-hit KO'd earlier with him having oh yeah, and this is another turn. It wouldn't have 3-hit KO'd with him having Leech Seed active on his Celesteela earlier. Okay, so Joe goes into Ditto, copies this, realizes Garchomp doesn't have any dragon moves. Ty was running Hidden Power Flying for Buzzwole, which we'll see later on in the game. With Ditto specifically, and this actually applies to Ty with Transform Mew as well, there's an option on the... when you go into Showdown, actually, I'm just going to pull it up here. I don't know if I got the right format for it. Let me switch this up real quick. Okay. When you click on so see right here, my Slowbro, it has HP type is Dark. Also, this team, this is not my team that I'm bringing against Dodge. Don't worry about that. Yeah, this was just a mock team that I built. So, I mean, you can take notes. This is something that I might run, but this is just an example. Anyway, when you click on like in the details here, you can change what the hidden power type is. And I don't know if Joe did this or not. Let me see if it's on his team paste. Yeah, there's nothing indicating he did anything with Ditto. So that Ditto, it had 30 attack. Maybe it was hidden power ice. So 30 attack IVs indicate that potentially could have been hidden power ice, but I think you have to specifically check the typing right here on the hidden power to be whatever you want. And this applies to Ditto and Mew specifically. I don't think anything else in the league can transform. But yeah, for those, just be very mindful of if you're copying somebody else's hidden power, it doesn't copy the hidden power that they are using. It turns into the hidden power that your Pokemon is actually assigned. So just a little heads up on that. All right, we'll go back to the replay here. All right, Luna's joining me. Gonna be a little video doggy. But yeah, no, this game was kind of over after Celesteela and Blastoise went down. Once again, Joe's going into something with good dark type coverage against a team with absolutely no dark resist, and he's not clicking a dark type move. Yeah, Heat Crash does the same damage as Crunch or Dragon Claw, but there's no downside to going to Crunch opposed to Heat Crash. Like, Crunch isn't resisted by anything other than Greninja, which also resists Heat Crash. And now that you've shown Heat Crash, he's not going to go into Scissor. So like there's no use in doing that. Crunch could give you like a little bit of a defense drop, maybe break through something. I mean, it's a pretty insurmountable hole at this point. And Ty's really just kind of taken what's given to him. You know, I don't think Ty has done anything that's too outrageous, right? He went into a Galarian Slowking on a Coco, found out it was physical Coco, backed out, went into Garchomp, you know, pretty standard. And then from there, just kind of like played to his pivots. Now, Ty has a really bulky team. He's able to, through the bulk of his team, just kind of make those switches pretty freely, because as long as he's not switching into something super effectively, he's going to be able to take two of them. Yeah, and that's kind of just the nature of Ty's team being very bulky. It's essentially balance with Fizdef like Garchomp and Spadef Lowking. But yeah, we'll just kind of see this clean up here. I think Tide messed up against the Ditto. He could have gotten himself an extra kill for his Scissor. Differential is all the same anyway, but could have gotten Scissor a kill instead of letting Squishy die to knock off or to struggle. And what Ty's doing here is very smart. We see he only has 5 total knockoffs, and that's his 4th. That's his 5th. The Roost was a little unnecessary there, because Struggle isn't doing too much more than a knockoff. He would have lived just fine. But yeah, that he dies to the Struggle recoil, and Scissor ends up not getting that kill. But yeah, no, good game to those guys. Joe, I know you're rusty. We'll get back into the swing of things. Don't take that game too hard. Just make sure you're putting the right natures on everything, boosting the correct physical or special attacks that each of your mons got, and don't try to overthink it. You know, just you also have a really bulky team. You don't have to try to make crazy predictions on turn 2. You know, identify your win cons, identify what breaks holes in the opposing team, and just try to prioritize keeping those alive. And then I think that's just going to help you out later on down the road. But yeah, not too much more to say about that. We'll go into the next game, which is me versus Tommy. All right, semi-final rematch. I'll talk about my team real quick. Pretty straightforward for me. I wanted to bring my regen core this week, Tornadus and Slowbro. Both have pivoting. I got Teleport on Slowbro, U-turn on Tornadus. Mega Lopunny is Fake Out, Substitute, Triple Axel, and Close Combat. Looking at Tommy's team, I didn't really need to run Frustration. Now, I didn't expect him to bring Gardevoir. That is the one mon on his team over here that doesn't get hit super effectively by Triple Axel or Close Combat, and there are situations, especially after I knocked off its Scarf, that having Frustration would have been really nice, and I could have just clicked it and probably won faster. I didn't want to risk not getting 2 hits on Triple Axel on a Gardevoir, so I was working to try to get as much chip onto it as possible. Yeah, otherwise I didn't really need Frustration. I was expecting like a Mega Sceptile over Gardevoir. And I was surprised to see Miltank and Lapras. I didn't really think Lapras made a ton of sense with me having a Zero Aura, but then he brought us 2 ground types, so maybe that was his thought process, is that he can kind of take care of Zero with Zygarde and Mamo, and yeah, I don't know. Other than that, it was a pivot Rotom Heat. It was like pretty physically bulky, with a bold nature, and then I threw a bunch of special defense EVs along with HP in there. That was going to be my best Tornadus answer. It's a really good Mamoswine answer as well. It doesn't like Stone Edge, but between Earthquake and Icicle Crash and Ice Shard, it's a pretty good answer. So I can kind of scout his set with Rotom Heat. And then Slowbro is also a really good answer to both Zygarde and Mamoswine, with a just incredible defense stat. I brought both Sheer Force users on my team, Nidoqueen and Rampardos as wall breakers. Both of them, if I got them in for free, they basically just claimed a kill. You know, I kind of played around with the idea of maybe like a Trick Room Slowbro for like Rampardos. I didn't end up loving it. It just felt like Rampardos wasn't going to be able to get enough out of that, and I'd rather just have it like come in and just blow something up once or twice. So yeah, that's pretty much the team. The idea was kind of blow through anything that could eat a hit from Lopunny, which like Zygarde died to Triple Axel after Fake Out. I really just needed to make sure that Mamoswine didn't have a Focus Sash intact, and then a little chip on Gardevoir here, and then Lopunny just kind of ate, really. Really good matchup for Lopunny. So he switches into my Volt Switch, blocks it. I get to teleport out into my Rampardos, which I EV'd to be faster than Zero Speed Lapras. Nah, it was like more than Zero Speed because they're pretty similar. 240, 236, yeah. I put a decent amount of speed in Rampardos just to like speed creep some stuff. But yeah, Life Orb, Sheer Force, Rock Slide right here is a 2-hit KO on his entire team other than the ground types. But I have an answer for those. So he goes into Zygarde here. I just show him that I have Rock Slide. I don't know if you ran the calc here, but since I'm Sheer Force and Life Orb, I don't take the recoil. And it's tough for him to tell if that's banded or if that's sheer force life orb, just based off the calc. So I have a good answer. I just go into Slowbro. Really good call going for the glare there. My team does not appreciate that. I'm not going into my Rotom Heat on a glare. So I knew he was already life orb because of the recoil. That play was mostly just to bring him down really low. It wasn't going to kill, but I knew I could eat any hit, and then whatever else he went into, I could just teleport out of. So that's what I'm going to do here against Lapras. Now, I saw he went into Zygarde on the first turn, and I didn't need to overpredict anything. I knew I was going to be faster than Lapras, so I could throw down a substitute. If he attacked into me, fine, whatever. I just go for Rock Slide the next turn and kill it. But if he goes back into Zygarde here, I can fire off a strong Life Orb Sheer Force boosted Ice Beam. Rampardos doesn't have good special attack, but a 4 times super effective Ice Beam is always going to hit hard. Now here, just really quick, show that again. When he goes into Gardevoir, it has Trace, and it traces Sheer Force, and you'll get a notification if you pay attention to the Gardevoir when it comes in right in here. So, Trace, Sheer Force. And it will say that over on the side too, in like the text box where like the chat is, replaying where like all the battle moves, right? Where it shows you percentages, time left, yada yada. It will say that. Now that's something I actually missed in the game. And so I switch out here into my Slowbro because I know I'm at 100%. Even if he specs, I can live anything. That does 68%. I put it in the calc. Moonblast gets boosted by Sheer Force because it has a special attack drop chance. So it did 1.3 times its normal amount. So I actually thought that was specs Gardevoir. I could have absolutely thrown the game right there had he not been choice locked with Choice Scarf. If that was just like an Expert Belt or a Focus Sash or whatever, and he was able to switch up moves, I actually would be in an awful, awful position. Now, it'd be good because I know he's not Scarf, and I'd be able to, like, you know, hit him with my low punny, fake out the triple Axel, probably kills, but I'm in a significantly worse position if he was able to switch moves here. And I actually switched out into Rotom, or I would go into Nidoqueen, 100%, thinking he cannot click anything other than Moonblast. Now, I was correct, he was Scarf, but I thought he was actually Specs, and that wasn't the case. So I actually read the item incorrect. I was still lucky that he was a choice itemer, but had he not been, I could have just lost my Nidoqueen to Psychic on the next turn. Would have been really bad. So I just take this opportunity to get my rocks up. I'm assuming he's Boots on Tornadus. I'm not expecting Boots on either Mamoswine or Lapras, so I'm hoping, okay, if rocks are up, I can like break a Mamoswine, like Focus Sash or something. Freeze Dry comes out, really good play here out of Tommy, predicting that I'm actually going into Slowbro. Freeze Dry Ice move that hits Water type super effectively. It's so nice. And now here I can actually afford, if he went for the Surf, I live it with Rotom Heat, and I could just Volt Switch out pretty freely. Otherwise, if he goes for the Freeze Dry, I'm in a really good position. And so he goes for the Freeze Dry, and I can just go for the Volt Switch, take a little chip here, go back into Slowbro on the Surf, and I just kind of go back and forth here. And I don't even hit Teleport or anything, because I'd probably die to Freeze Dry, but I'm just getting my regen back on my Slowbro, right? I'm never clicking Slack off on it. I'm just getting passive recovery through Regenerator, which is so good. So right here, Tornadus comes in, eats the Fake Out. My Rotom, I'm kind of in the back of my mind like, okay, I need this as a Freeze Dry answer still for Lapras, so I'm not going to go straight into it on Tornadus. I can just go into my own, and I'm kind of chilling. So here I go for the knockoff. Gardevoir was really annoying with Trace Regenerator this game. But yeah, knockoff, I wasn't too worried about it. I can just knock off the Lapras here because I know Freeze Dry is not going to do too much to me. Surf did 29%. We'll see what Freeze Dry does on the next turn. It does 46, yeah. I was going to be able to live that anyway. So I can just Hurricane into Superpower and knock it out. Mamoswine comes in. Slowbro, since I regened up. Amazing answer to Mamoswine here. I just need to not get paralyzed. Gardevoir gets Regenerator again. I can go into my Tornadus because now I know it's not choice locked and it doesn't have sheer force. Hit a really big Hurricane there. It was really great making sure I can get some chip down on Mamoswine. Once again, Gardevoir getting that Regenerator. And I show the Calm Mind here. Now the idea was if I don't get paralyzed, I can just slack off on the next turn. It's no big deal. And it showed me that he also has Thunderbolt on this, but had I not gotten paralyzed there, I would continually eat those Thunderbolts and possibly just win with Slowbro from that position. But yeah, I ran enough speed on Rotom to outspeed his Mamoswine, which I think was just like 4 speed EVs. I don't think Tommy didn't put any speed on his Mamo. I guess that was to call that I wasn't going to put speed on my Nidoqueen. That's kind of my best bet on why he did that. It felt like a faster Mamo to make sure he was always faster than Nidoqueen just felt safer. And possibly forcing me to put speed on my Rotom. Now he only had Icicle Crash, Earthquake, and Ice Shard, so he wasn't really doing anything to me anyway at this point. So Overheat takes him out. Levitate Gardevoir. I can eat whatever he's going for. I just get a little chip down on Pain Split, bring me back up. I can just go for the Volt Switch here. And at 55%, I knew I could fake out here and put it guaranteed into triple Axel range. Even still, at that 55%, it will die to 2. Or I think it might be 3 triple Axels. I think I have to hit 3 on this. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I did get a little lucky there, hitting 3 90% in a row. 5 if you count against Tornadus. But yeah, Lopunny had an insane matchup this game. There's not too much to say about it. Tommy played his Gardevoir really, really well. I think, I don't know how you can really scout for a Rampardos with Ice Beam, but yeah, probably just going into like Miltank or something instead of Zygarde for Rampardos probably would have been the correct play, because I think his Miltank, it was Spadef, but it probably doesn't get 2-hit KO'd by Rock Slide though. But yeah, no, that was a really good game to Tommy. Yeah, we'll just move on to the next one here. Drugs Bunny, sweeping it up. All right, Berg versus MJC, and man, oh man, Berg is back. Yeah, so the plays will come back to me. There were a couple that really stood out while I was watching this live. I haven't watched this back until right now. But yeah, there were some pretty specific ones that I was like, woo. Talking about the teams here, Bird Spam out of Berg, really strong. You know, like Melodic is fat enough to eat plenty of hits, but like a Scrappy Boom Burst is going to 2-hit KO Runerigus. It's going to do a chunk to Melodic. Ferrothorn doesn't really appreciate a Hurricane from Mega Pidgeot or a Heat Wave. Now, like Pinsir can Revenge Kill with Quick Attack pretty easily. But yeah, his birds are really good into Matt here. Otherwise, I think Raikou is really valuable, especially after he got rid of Runerigus. It felt like Raikou could kind of put in some work. And I think at the end of the day, if Berg just made a couple more reads with Victini here, this could have been a little bit different. Gotta stay hydrated out here. Dude, after I've recorded that 2-hour video, my voice has just been absolutely cooked. Yeah, 2-hit KO out of a Swallow. Yeah, man, just totally cleaned it up right there. Okay, so I don't disagree with sacking Swellow there to get Raikou in. It still felt like it would be able to do something. You know, it's going to be able to live rocks one more time and possibly blow up another hole. I mean, Berg, you have an amazing Pinsir answer. You know, there wasn't any reason to sack it other than to get your Raikou in, which is fine. It's just, you have a Steelix at 100% health. This is a perfect time to pivot into Steelix, get your rocks up, make him play around. He wants to defog more than you do. Pinsir takes 50% from rocks, and yeah, he doesn't want to deal with it. So you just got to go into your, you have an amazing Pinsir answer. And even if he was Earthquake, which he is, and we'll see how much that does later down the road, like you can easily live that. You can attack back, put your rocks up, pivot back out into like a Weezing on a Ferrothorn. You have plenty of answers. So yeah, Raikou is fine though, if you know, if you wanted to sack. Now here, you know, he's probably roosting, right? So what you could do, you could just Volt Switch out into your Victini, blow a hole with something with V-Create or Bolt Strike. Or you could pray for a crit and go for a couple T-Bolts. So you started fishing, I see you. But Zapdos will be at a point where it's going to be able to live 2 without having to roost and attack back. But yeah, you're fishing for that. It's fine. You're honestly in a better position because you stayed in now. And once again, we talked about this. Protect stops everything. Anything that goes to the other side of the field, Protect stops it. Like an attacking move, that is, right? Like Stealth Rocks or Spikes or Toxic Spikes, they'll still go up. But Volt Switch, U-turn, you know, things of that nature, it stops the momentum on the back end. So yeah, you want to Volt Switch out. That's totally fine. That is definitely the correct play given your Raikou set. So once he protects the first time, just click Volt Switch again the second time, because a double protect is only a 33% chance. So yeah, going to the Victini, it's fine. He would have got the health back anyway. Goes for the protect here. Now that was the correct turn to go for V-Create, because you knew he was going to protect. You go for the V-Create, you don't show your cards. Now, if Matt was paying attention, he would have seen that you're heavy duty boots, right? You didn't take Stealth Rock, so he should know that you're not locked into whatever you're choosing. But since he protected on a V-Create, he's not going to stay in. There's no way. And if you look at the rest of his team, nothing resists a Bolt Strike, and you can just go for that straight into the Melodic. But going for the V-Create into an already burnt Melodic is just not going to do enough here. Yeah, and on MJC's end, I feel like I probably would still, you know, make the Melodic play, even if he does go for the Bolt Strike and potentially put me in like a 2-hit KO range. I'm just going to come back in with Pinsir and then try to claim something. You know, Melodic's pretty valuable though for Steelix. I don't know. That's probably more of a 50-50 than I'm making it out to be. But MJC got that right, and now he's able to just recover up, and Melodic is so annoying, dude. Yeah. Now we're going to see another Protect here out of Ferrothorn. So setting up the Sunny Day, I don't hate. The issue is like, it's just a wasted turn. It's extra health taken off of Raikou. Yeah, I mean, that's really all it is. Like, he's going to just be able to protect. He knows that you only have like Thunderbolt and Volt Switch. Even if you had Hidden Power Fire, he's probably living it. I don't know what his set was. Let's see, pull the paste. It was leftovers with Iron Defense, Protect, Body Press, and Leech Seed. Yeah, Hidden Power Fire Raikou would have went absolutely stupid. Yeah. It is what it is. But yeah, Ferrothorn's super annoying. You just got to get into your Pidgey out here on like these predicted protects, right? Glaciate, completely unnecessary to click here. Even though it hits Zapdos and Pinsir super effectively, V-Create in the sun probably does twice as much as a Glaciate would on a super effective hit. You know, between Stab, it being 180 base power move, like, yeah. So, Berg's just pretty much in a tough position here. I'm just going to speed it up. With Victini going down like that, he doesn't really have a reliable way to break through Ferrothorn as long as Melodic is up, right? So Pidgeot can take care of Ferrothorn, it can't answer Melodic or Zapdos. And that's what Victini really needed to break, was Zapdos and Melodic, and allow like a Pidgeot to come in and take care of business. The switch into Victini on Psychic, like, good read that he was going to go for a Psychic type move, except Victini is no longer a switch in, and now you lost like a ton of offensive pressure. Going to the Pidgeot here, confirmed Scarf Azelf after that, which is unfortunate. Absolutely baller Roost right there. Completely unnecessary, but really, really sick. Just being like, yeah, Zapdos isn't going to attack into me. And then it just followed it up with a Hurricane into a Discharge crit. Yeah. It's like sick ass play followed up by not going into Steelix play. Yeah, man, just use your Steelix moving forward a little bit more. It's an amazing answer. Even like its special attack is not something to kind of like disregard in prep. You know, you put a Careful Nature on, you throw 252 in HP and special defense, and like, I mean, it took 19% from a Mega Pinsir aerially boosted return. Like, that's just insane. Could have just went into that earlier instead of sacking Swellow, and now you'd potentially still have a Swellow to come in and break. Swellow at this point, yeah, it's going to die to a quick attack from Pinsir, but you don't have Rocks up. You just be able to switch back out into Steelix, double back out into Swellow, blow something up with like a Heat Wave, Boom Burst. What else were you running? Oh, you didn't have any Hurricane. So yeah, Boom Burst and Heat Wave though just covers everything, right? So yeah. This is just kind of a little back and forth here. It's kind of going down. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And the reason I sped through that, there wasn't really any chance with Ferrothorn and Melodic still up that he was going to be able to break through. Steelix couldn't do anything to get Melodic out. Raikou couldn't do anything to get Ferrothorn out. And then, you know, Weezing just got taken care of by itself. But yeah, great game to Matt. Played that really well. He used his defensive core super strong. And yeah, Berg just knocked the rust off, man. Just trust your gut. You know what you're doing. Just gotta do it. You did it in prep, and then you just didn't do it in the game. Alright, E versus Cordell. Let's get it. I did a little bit of prep with E for this game. We were talking, and the #1 public enemy of his team is Galarian Zapdos, and it was like, alright, so you either bring a Scarf Whimsicott to be faster than it, or you bring a Mimikyu and do everything in your power to keep a Disguise alive, because otherwise you got like no answers. So yeah, also Gastrodon gave E's team a little bit of a problem, so this is about as good of a team as Cordell could have brought, for sure. It was really cool kind of seeing his style playing this. I'm actually going to switch sides here. Play this from Cordell's perspective. Let's see, and his Heatran, I want to find the set real quick on it. It was a Magma Storming, Trapping Heatran. So, yeah, good chancey answer with Magma Storm for sure. Slinging up those rocks. Tangrowth all day on a Landorus, good call. At this point, you know, Tangrowth is running Leech. Yeah, a little bit of an annoying miss with the Leech Seed there. It kind of is what it is. Even if Leech Seed was up here, you know, Heatran doesn't take the Poison Jab. You come down, you're like, I don't know, 74% or whatever. That doesn't die to Magma Storm still, and then All Out Pummeling still OHKOs a 144 HP Heatran. I think it OHKOs 252 HP as well. But yeah, that's my heat of the week, if you will. Really cool set out of Muck there. And yeah, and it's bulky enough, really annoying with Poison Touch to get the poison down on Diancie. Okay, so breaking down from this point in the game, I think I'm prioritizing Diancie because I still feel good about Gyarados. I still think Gyarados, if I'm able to get a little bit of a chip on Rotom, Gyarados should be able to win the game for me. So what I need to do is make sure Diancie's alive to deal with Rotom specifically. And you don't have to kill it. You just need to break it down, get it really low. And with you being low and it potentially having like Pain Split or something, it's not going to get a lot of health back. So I think that is the absolute priority at this point. Maybe also getting a knockoff on the Chansey with Sneasel would be really nice. But yeah, you know, Whimsicott, if you look at the speeds here, I can't go up to it, but it says 213 to 364. You can always check the speeds when you're looking over stuff. So Whimsicott has a higher base speed than Diancie. I know this is very basic for most everybody, but just in case you didn't know about the mechanic, so you can hover over stuff, see what their speed is, right? You know Whimsicott is going to be faster than you. In Draft League, E is going to be able to see that you have Mega Diancie as one of your fastest. Actually, I think it's 1 point faster than Sneasel as well. I think Whimsicott is base 116. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Base 116 versus 115. So you know Whimsicott's max speed in order to outspeed both of those. Not having Heatran is a problem. I will not deny you that. But I think keeping Diancie alive, just to be able to have a little bit more offensive pressure, because that's really what ended up happening in this game, is there was just a lack of pressure on E's team, and he was able to pivot around pretty comfortably. Yeah. So this is just an inexperienced play. It was a great read on E's part, bringing Scarf Whimsicott, opposed to like a Mimikyu that we were talking about. Scarf Zapdos was a very obvious, I would say, set for Gyarados this week, given E's team, especially having like an Intimidate Landorus. You want to bring your Defiant Mon, and Scarf just kind of blew through everything after a Defiant boost. So it would make sense that this would be a Scarf Whimsicott, and he didn't do anything to possibly scout for it. Now, it's a tough position, right? And you're asking Pano, how do you scout for that? You know, you have a Whimsicott coming in, it's faster than Diancie, it's going to kill me with Moonblast from that range anyway. If it's not Scarf, and I go into Gastrodon and it just energy balls me, like I lose Gastrodon and I lose the game. So at this point, I would have just been like, okay, what do I really don't need on the team? I probably would have just went into Sneasel next to threaten Ice Shard, or potentially a Scarf Sneasel, maybe bluff that. But, you know, I guess that's tough as well, because he could just go for the Moonblast still, and you still haven't technically scouted if he was Scarfed or not at that point. You know what? I can't remember if Tangrowth shows Regenerator before or after. It's at 47 there. What was Tangrowth at when it switched out? Okay, so Tangrowth is actually high enough here. I would go into a Tangrowth on this, and then kind of play from there. Get a knockoff off. You probably live one hit. You can knock it off, guarantee that it doesn't have a Scarf. I think that's actually the correct play. And it took me a while to kind of calculate that because I didn't know the team. But had I known I had a knockoff Tangrowth, I'd probably go into that instead of Gyarados and just kind of play it out from there. Just because, like, your Gyarados is your win condition at this point. There's no Diancie, there's no Heatran. You have to use that thing to the best of your ability. And, being able to scout a Scarf Whimsicott is exactly what you had to do. So, but yeah, good defensive core remaining here, and that's why the game took very long to finish out. Regenerator from Tangrowth, recovery in Gastrodon is very hard to break through if you're not able to find, you know, maybe you don't have a Freeze Dry Pokemon, right? Freeze Dry kind of just completely destroys that, but given what E has, he doesn't really have something that can take on both of them at the same time, since Whimsicott is choice locked. You know, it can't go into, it doesn't want to, like, Energy Ball Tangrowth. But yeah, we'll kind of finish it up here. It gets spicy at the end, so I'm going to kind of just let this play out. Yeah, just a good ol' stall fest. Yeah, Gastrodon's so fat. Its stats are like not great, but it just lives everything. Clear Small, cool option. Hit the Whimsicott with poison type coverage. Pretty useful as well. Amazing read. E, I don't think there was any reason not to click Close Combat at that point. If you just click Close Combat on that turn, you win the game with Gallade with 3 kills immediately. Yeah, Close Combat 1,000,000,000% kills a max defense Tangrowth at 23%. And just so I'm not completely talking out of my butthole here, I don't know if this is actually showing up on this. Okay, go Gallade versus 10 physically defensive. Close Combat does 35% minimum. And that is the highest defense that Tangrowth could possibly have. So, yeah, if you just click Close Combat on that turn, this turn, you kill the Sneasel, and then you just kind of clean up with a Gallade at that point. So, yeah, this is where it starts getting a little spicy. Whimsicott continually is taking these Rocks Chip, and I think, didn't Moonblast do... Yeah, it did 32% to Miss Slimy last time. I don't know why you just didn't go for Moonblast again, E. Back to the calc, see if there's something I'm missing. It was a Gastrodon, especially defensive. No, it was physically defensive, I think. 100 special defense, 252 HP, and a Bold Nature. Okay, so mostly Phys Def. Kind of like that EV spread, nice and balanced. Okay, it was a roll. At that point, it was a go for the Moonblast. Okay, yeah, it's a roll to kill at that point. Now, if he lives, gets a recover off, is that the end of the world? No, not at all. Yeah, Chansey beats Sneasel and Gastrodon 1v1 at this point. Probably would have just went for it. Even if he did, you know, live, just go into your Chansey on the next turn and kind of play from there. But we're taking a note of how much Stealth Rock damage Whimsicott's taking. Ty and I did the hardcore calculations after the game. They're at 51% here. It is actually a roll in Cordell's favor to kill with Ice Shard right here. And he got the literal lowest roll. It's supposed to do 46 to 55. Yeah, 46 to 55. It ends up being a 58% chance that it kills with Ice Shard, and he got the 46% roll. That said, if he did kill this, he would need to what E would have to do is go into Landers first, and then go into Chansey, and then go back into Landers. But yeah, if he just goes into Chansey from here, you click knockoff, maybe you get a crit or two with triple Axel, maybe the Chansey goes down, now maybe an Ice Shard somehow kills a Landorus at that range. I think we ran the numbers on it, and it was like, or at least I did on my end, I think it was less than like a 2% chance had the Ice Shard actually killed. Yeah, pretty insane odds anyway to win, but it wasn't completely over until Ice Shard didn't kill. So But yeah, no, that was a really good game. Cordell made it really competitive. That was an awesome all-out pummeling out of Focus Punch Muck on East side. And honestly, I think that won the game. It completely allowed Whimsicott to tear through him. Had Heatran been alive, Whimsicott is basically a non-factor other than checking and revenge killing Scarf Gyarados. So yeah, he found which wall he needed to break. Swept it up with a Whimsicott afterwards, so really good job on that end. And Cordell, awesome game. Welcome to the league, dude. Butterfree. So this is something I'm actually not very familiar with what Butterfree can do. I know Dodge, wanted to stay on his tier 1 stuff, and unfortunately Venomoth is a tier 4. So I think Venomoth is the superior of the moths and the butterflies in Gen 1. But anyway, Butterfree, I'm pretty sure it can Quiver Dance. It's pretty useful with like Sleep Powder and stuff like that. Little support with like Tailwind or Stun Spore for speed control. Yeah, I think it's just something that's going to be annoying. I don't know how often he's really going to bring it, because realistically, you have to throw heavy-duty boots on it because of that 4 times weakness to rock. And then if you got that on there, you're just going to die to one hit without a Focus Sash. So, like, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to use, but all right, well, those are 11 turns of destruction that I thought I would never see out of a Butterfree. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. All right, a little bit to break down here. Let Dodge have his moment with that one. Okay, so this is let's see here. Little compound-ized Sleep Powder action coming out of Butterfree. Oh, all right. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. Compound-ized Butterfree hitting its Sleep Powders, catching a dancing Gliscor, and then Butterfree goes dancing itself. So, yeah, this is the main way that Butterfree will be offensive. Was that a 4 times weak Gliscor U-turn did 44%? That's insane. Hurricane going stupid. Good call with the haze from Graham's end, getting that down. But now he doesn't have anything asleep, and I don't know if this is necessarily the one I would have put to sleep. So a little fact about Gen 8, and really it's Gen 6 onward. If you're a Grass-type Pokemon, you do not take the effects of powder moves. So Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, stuff like that. Once you went for the Baneful Bunker with Toxapex, you go into Shiftry on the next turn. And this is with hindsight, right? What Dodge should have done anyway is just Hurricane and got rid of the Toxapex. There was not really a reason to go for the Sleep Powder again, because he could have just gotten rid of Toxapex and then just completely opened up the game for his Aerodactyl, his Gengar, his Hitmonlee. Like, he would have had a lot more answers without a Toxapex. Regardless, he wanted to go for the Sleep Powder. You saw him go for the Sleep Powder on the Baneful Bunker. You can go into Shiftry then, and then the Sleep Powder won't do anything to you. Shiftry is faster, and it has Fake Out. But Dodge goes for the Quiver Dance instead of going for the Sleep Powder because Toxapex got put to sleep, and now destruction happens. Yeah, modest Butterfree OHKOing a no-bulk Gliscor. That's an insane calc. And then did 94% to Ninetales. And just as a reminder for everybody, Toxapex is still asleep at this point, and you can only have one Pokemon asleep on each side at a time. It's a sleep clause implemented by the website. Yep. Little Ice Beam action, taking him out. So, Graham, I'll DM you about this, but I would always run Snow Warning on Ninetales to set up the hail. even if you aren't using it for a like an Aurora Veil sort of set, it gives you 100% accuracy blizzards, and it doesn't automatically tell your opponent that you don't have Aurora Veil, right? If I see a Ninetales that comes in and it doesn't set up the snow, then I immediately know, okay, he's not screens because he can't be. So it kind of automatically turns me into like, okay, this is going to be either like offensive or some sort of like encore, you know, hypnosis shenanigans that, you know, possibly Ninetales can do. But yeah, just run Snow Warning. It's really not the end of the day taking chip on your stuff. Especially with how bulky your team is, it's really not going to matter that much at the end of the day. Plus, it makes your Ninetales more versatile, stronger with Blizzard opposed to Ice Beam as well, because Blizzard doesn't check accuracy in the hail. But yeah, Heal Bell, waking up the Toxapex. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. At this point, though, you have an unburdened Hitmonlee. This is a good call going into your Heracross. You know, it's able to live everything. I don't know. I gotta check my coverage on this. Hitmonlee might learn Acrobatics. Might have been a cool call for Dodge to run, because I think Hitmonlee just would have kind of cleaned up from that point with like Earthquake, Acrobatics, and like a fighting move or something. But yeah, going in, Aerodactyl really at this point is just getting chip. You got 64% on Heracross, and now after a dual wing beat on Volcanion, it's going to be low enough that it's going to die to a Gyarados. And this was risky, I would say, on Dodge's part. The DD was, I thought, was unnecessary, because I thought after an Earthquake into a Volcanion, which you see here, you're already faster before the Dragon Dance. You could have just EQ'd and killed him, got your +1, and then Mega Evolved on the next turn. I don't think you needed the next boost to kill with Waterfall. I think at +1 you kill a Heracross at 64%. So just a little nitpick on that. That way you don't risk getting burnt. I knew the game was over. Diglett cleans, or Dugtrio cleans at this point. But yeah, just like, you know, it was an unnecessary risk, really. Graham, really cool team that you brought. I'm going to DM you some stuff about like EVs and specifically about your Toxapex, taking advantage of that Merciless if you are going to run that. But yeah, no, overall, really solid stuff. Seriously, everybody, thank you so much for playing your games before Saturday. It makes it way easier to get this breakdown down. I'll see you guys in the Discord, and good luck to your opponents next week. Peace.